Well, to eastern Libya now, where thousands of people have died in floods caused by a large storm. The port city of Derna appears to be hardest hit. Two dams in a valley above the Mediterranean city were overwhelmed when Storm Daniel brought the heaviest rainfall in a single day in 4 decades. That sent a huge wave of water through the city in the early hours of Monday. Apartment blocks that stood well back from the river partially collapsed into the mud, while a bridge along the seafront was washed away. Thousands are still unaccounted for. Our Libya correspondent Malik Trainer reports.
The worst storm Libya has seen in decades brought record rainfall and destruction. The impact on eastern areas has been devastating, but in the city of Derna, catastrophic. 2 of the port city's major dams collapsed, sending walls of water into the city. Entire neighborhoods have been completely washed away.
Unfortunately, with the tail end of the Daniel storm, there has been a sudden, abrupt increase in the water load, which led to the total destruction of the major dam and the sudden flooding of the city, to the extent that about 4 square kilometers of the heart of the city have been eroded completely.
Authorities have struggled to reach Derna. It's feared hundreds have been killed.
I hardly believe that the photos are not able to describe the horrible situation in Derna. It's beyond control, it's beyond the abilities of the government and the national society and the people in the city. It's really devastating, and it calls upon the assistance from all the international actors.
Patients and staff were forced to evacuate several hospitals across eastern Libya. Many remain trapped in flooded areas.
The situation is horrible. It's extremely sad. There are people suffering from the floods, and we haven't been able to reach them.
Libya has been engulfed by political divisions for more than a decade. The country has 2 governments. That slowed down emergency assistance efforts. The parallel government in eastern Libya has announced a 2-day state of emergency, enforcing a curfew and calling for people to exercise caution if they leave their homes. The internationally recognized government in Tripoli declared eastern Libya a disaster zone. It sent teams of emergency workers from western Libya.
I've instructed the Ministry of Health and all relevant agencies to quickly provide assistance. Relief convoys will be dispatched to all cities affected by this incident. We will respond with all available resources.
Malik Trainer joins us now from Tripoli. And Malik, we know the numbers of missing dead are relatively difficult to confirm at this stage, but do we have any idea of how many people are still unaccounted for?
Well, according to officials in eastern Libya, it's thousands. So yesterday, we were seeing the officials in the Eastern Parallel government talking about 5,000 missing. That was from the Prime Minister. This morning and late last night, the Minister of Health from the Parallel government is estimating that number to reach 10,000. We're seeing unconfirmed reports of 3,000 people accounted for dead in the city of Derna. That number, and thousands still missing. But authorities have not been able to reach the city. The roads leading into Derna are blocked off or destroyed because of the flooding. So until authorities are able to reach the city and assess the damage and account for the dead and the missing, we're not going to know the number for sure.
I mean, if officials and authorities are finding it extremely difficult to get into the worst affected areas, what sort of aid are people there actually being able to access at this point in time?
Well, in other areas, not in the city of Derna, aid has begun to reach the people in need. I think first and foremost, I mean, those that, their homes were destroyed need immediate shelter. They also need cash assistance, to be able to provide for their families, perhaps get rent accommodation for their families. So I think the most important thing is shelter. blankets, food, water, and cash assistance.
And you mentioned a little earlier, Libya's got two governments. Can you just explain how that is affecting the recovery effort and how it will in the future as well?
It complicates everything. I mean, so, we saw yesterday warlord Khalifa Haftar, who asked for the Libyan Central Bank to give funds to the parallel government so they can start helping people in need. We saw the internationally recognized government, the Prime Minister Abdelhamid Dbeibeh, talk about giving funds to the local councils so they can help the people that are impacted on a local level. So, who supervises the rescue efforts? Who gets the money? Where does the money come from? So, that complicates the rescue efforts for these people and prolongs it. So, hopefully, people are hoping that politicians can put aside their differences and get help to those that are in need.